What's up, everyone, and welcome into episode number 484, where there's a lot to talk about. We got the Michigan game, we got the Michigan State game, lots to get into. We'll get started out with Michigan's loss to Oklahoma 24-13 in a game that obviously was college game day. There was a lot of hype going into this game, the only top 25 matchup for the whole entire day. Obviously, it was a big moment for Michigan. It was a big moment for Oklahoma. It was the Sharon Moore welcome home game. And this game, honestly, was an interesting one to watch because the issues with Michigan last year was that they did not have a quarterback. And now they truly do have a quarterback. Now, the thing with Michigan last year, in the past couple of years, at least under the Jim Harbaugh regime, is that the offensive line has always been really good and it has always been one of the main strengths for this team. With that being said, this was one of those games that I looked at this offensive line and they struggled. And that hasn't happened very often for Michigan at all, at least in the past 5-10 years. Like, this offensive line has always been really, really good. And they've struggled this year, at least compared to what they have been doing. Like, their offensive line historically has been really good. And with Sharon Moore being a former OC and former offensive line coach, you really think under his tenure, not only would the offensive line still be good, but there's a possibility that it could get better. Now, obviously, with how good it's been, could it really get much better? I don't necessarily know the answer to that, but you'd think this offensive line would not have as many issues as it has. And they really had Bryce Underwood running around all night. And you have to really give credit to Oklahoma for that. Now, I know there's Michigan fans that are really upset with the offensive line, that they don't think the offensive line is good. And I think there is something to say to that. I think, at least for what they're used to, maybe this offensive line isn't good. With that being said, though, you also have a little bit of frustration with Chip Lindsey in the offensive coordinator position and with Sharon Moore, because there were several times in this game, not only was Bryce Wood running around, there were several times in this game where they wouldn't take shots down the field. Like, there was a lot of times where they threw the ball not even past the line of scrimmage. There's a lot of times where they're running screens. And I'm not someone that isn't against screens. I'm someone that I think the screen game can work. Now, I do know that this was a huge game for Bryce Underwood, that this was his first true away game in a huge atmosphere in the spotlight. But he went 9 for 24 yesterday, 142 yards, no scores whatsoever. Did I expect Bryce Underwood to be a little bit better in this game? Yes. Did I expect him to have some turnovers? Yes. I don't think they forced the issue enough. And it's one of those things where, yes, he might force a turnover. He might not throw a great pass. But you would rather have, at least if I was a Michigan fan, you would rather have a coach that was aggressive, that would take shots if he had time, than a coach that really seemed like this offensive play calling was extremely conservative. It's just one of the most baffling things to me of what this play calling was. Now, again, do I think the pass rush and do I think the pressure played into that? Yeah, I think there's some argument to that. But outside of really Justice Haynes' 75-yard touchdown run to start the second half, Michigan couldn't do anything offensively in this game. Now, you do have a guy in Donovan McCulley that I thought was the best wide receiver in this game for Michigan, 3 catches, 91 yards. They also didn't have Marlon Klein, which obviously plays an impact in this game. And I do think you have to give credit to Oklahoma for playing pretty great defense. But it truly seemed like when Michigan had the opportunity to take advantage of either mistakes or take advantage when they had the opportunity to do so, They did not do that because there was multiple times, at least one other time, that Michigan's defense should have absolutely picked off John Mater. Like, there was multiple times where they should have done so, did not do so. They did get one interception against him, which was a great play. Not necessarily the greatest throw, but like they had multiple opportunities to take advantage of possible mistakes, and they did not do so whatsoever. And then when they had opportunities to be aggressive, especially later on in this game, they weren't aggressive. It truly seemed like this coaching staff was, again, very, very conservative. And if you're going to win a game on the road, I understand with a freshman quarterback, it's hard to say go for it. It's hard to be aggressive. But with this freshman quarterback, you have to be okay with living with possible mistakes. And I think in this game, they held Bryce Underwood back a little bit. Now, again, it continues to go back to the offensive line, and can they block? Bryce Underwood is a good enough athlete where you saw even when he got out of the pocket, he was able to find his wide receivers down the field. Like, it just is interesting to watch. Like, it truly seemed like a game where Michigan struggled very mightily in offense. And when it came to defense, I thought overall they didn't perform bad. I thought that John Mateer was pretty good overall. Now, again, he did throw one interception, 270 yards, but he destroyed Michigan with his legs. Like 2 touchdowns through his legs, 74 yards. Every time he needed a big play, he either found Deion Burks, which was a former Michigan high school player, Belleville. We talked about that in the preview, where Michigan talks about the best players in Michigan stays in Michigan. Well, look at Deion Brooks. Burks could have been really good for this wide receiver room for Michigan. And I think he made a point to have a great game because he had 7 receptions, 101 yards, 1 touchdown. He scored the first touchdown of the game. He made it a point to show up. And I think there's one thing to say about wanting revenge. I think Burks really wanted to beat Michigan. And I think you really saw in this game why he wanted to do it and that he really meant it. And I think Oklahoma made a few more plays than Michigan did. I think offensively, while Oklahoma didn't run the ball extremely well, which I don't think anyone is surprised by that, because I still think this Michigan defense is pretty good at stopping the run. Maybe not great at stopping quarterbacks that are mobile, but they did a pretty good job on Barnes, Laylac, Ott. Like, overall, they did pretty well besides Mateer. It's just one of those games that you look back on and you saw opportunities for Michigan to win. And unfortunately, because of the offensive line, because of play calling, because of frustration with this offense, I think Michigan fans are starting to become really, really interested in seeing what this offense is going to be. And I think it truly starts with this offensive line. If this offensive line continues to be an issue protecting Bryce Underwood, it might be a season that is really long for this offense. And I think Oklahoma is good defensively. I think Oklahoma with Mateer is good enough offensively. Do I think this is a season-ending loss for Michigan? No, not anywhere close to that at all. Like, I predicted Michigan to lose this game. I didn't think Michigan was going to go on the road with a rookie quarterback and win this game. With that being said, I did expect Michigan to perform better than they did. I think it was a disappointing effort. It was a disappointing game, and I think any Michigan fan listening to this would agree with that. There's going to be some real conversations that's going to have to be had. And this is a game that obviously will lead to results down the road. It will lead to some changes. Having Marlon Klein back will definitely help. It's truly going to depend on this offensive line, and Michigan's offensive line was not good enough in this game. And besides Justice Hayes, they didn't do enough. Haynes was really good in this game outside of the big run. Like, he is really, really good. He is really fast. He's a guy that, if he breaks your tackle, could very much take it to the end zone. But is this offense and is this wide receiver room good enough? That's the real question. Are they going to give Bryce Underwood enough time? That's another question. And in today's game against Oklahoma, the answer to that question is no. And if that continues to happen, there's a real possibility that Michigan could lose a decent amount more games. Now, again, it's week 2. Obviously, there's a lot to look forward to. There's a last season left to go. In my opinion, if you're a Michigan fan, you should not be panicking whatsoever. But there should be concerns with this offensive line. And if this offense doesn't have more than a running attack this year, it could be a disappointing offense in year 1 under Bryce Underwood. Now, I do think they'll be better throwing the ball. I think Martin Connington's a bigger loss than people realize. But offensive line is truly where the offense starts. And they need to figure something out there. Or it could be really interesting throughout the season. But, yeah, not a good game for Michigan. I know Michigan fans are frustrated with the offense coordinator, Chip Lindsey. I know they might be a little frustrated with Sharon Moore. I know they're definitely frustrated with just how this game went overall. Because I think if you're a little bit more aggressive, I don't know if you necessarily win this game, but I think this game's closer towards the end. And unfortunately, because of a little bit of conservatism, in my opinion, you end up losing this game. But hey, you have Central Michigan next week. It's a game that you should absolutely win. It's a game that you should control from start to finish. It's a game that Sharon Moore will not be coaching in, so I'm going to be really interested to see what happens there. But yeah, that's really the recap for Michigan. Now that means we have to get into the recap with Liam joining me to talk about Michigan State. Let's get into the recap with Liam right now. Michigan State wins in double overtime, 42-40 over Boston College. What a game, what a win at home. How are you doing, Liam? Are you surviving? I know that your voice is hanging on for basically as long as it can, but how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. My voice is a different story, but I'm feeling great. That was an incredible game. Incredible.
Yeah, no, it truly was incredible. Let's talk about the first 5, 6, 7 minutes, because it truly felt like it was a bonkers. What in the world was going on? You get a 3 and out, you get a punt, then Amari Kelly fumbles on the punt return. Then you have Boston College fumbling on the 1, and then we get the ball back. Amari Kelly tries to hurdle a guy. The ball goes 20 feet up in the air, goes out of bounds.
Luckily,
I have never seen a start to a game like that before. It was insane.
No, that was it just foreshadowed what the rest of the game was going to be like, if you ask me. The entire thing, like you said, from start to finish, it was all wild.
It truly was a classic of a game, though. It's going to be a game
that
MSU fans remember for a while. We'll talk about what this means for the program, what this means for Jonathan Smith. But what were your just first initial impressions of the game? We're less than 24 hours away from the game. So obviously, we would have probably been going crazy last night, but it was 12:30 at night. But had to settle in a little bit. What's your impression?
I haven't settled in, honestly. It was that good. It's been so long since a Michigan State offense has been able to just cut up through the air like that. That was so fun to watch. Chiles, we talked about it in the preview. He needed to have a big game, and he absolutely did that. That's an understatement saying he had a big game. 5 touchdowns, no turnovers, 270 total yards. He looked great in the run game. Hit it. Receivers were making. The offense was just so awesome. The defense, not good enough, but good enough to win, and that's all that mattered last night.
And the offense did something they've done once prior to this game, is outscore another team, an FBS team, in the second half. Like, that's not something that Jonathan Smith and this offense has ever done, and it's something that going into halftime, and I want to get your thoughts on this, because if this game ended completely differently, if this ended up being a loss, I thought that last, 50 seconds that Brian Lindgren had in that offense was absolutely malpractice for the most part. Maybe malpractice might not be the right word for it, but I don't know about you, but I was heated heading into the half.
Oh, I was mad heading into half. There were a couple different times where I was really frustrated. Are we only talking about the first half, or can I jump to the end really quick? I was more upset when 27-27 we're going to score at the end of the game, and we had moved the ball. I'm trying to see right here. I've got the play-by-play. We had moved the ball to the BC 41, 1st and 10 with 1:16, and we had gone. Chiles had run for 17 yards and hit Eckley for 17 yards. And I just thought in that scenario, Lindgren, it has to be a run. Just to keep the momentum going. The BC defenders were going to be gassed. It's late in the game. And the run game worked well. I mean, Frazier had, 81 yards or whatever. And so then you get that first down play. You had the sack. And that's, all right, whatever. But the next, it was a sack, but a 1-yard sack. So it's 2nd and 11. You still have the chance to run and make it 3rd and short. Or 3rd and manageable at least. And then they take another sack, if I'm not mistaken. And now you're 3rd and 19, and you can't do anything there. So I was upset about that, and I agree with you at the end of the first half.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a frustrating ending, and I feel like obviously we can talk about the defense. We can talk about the things that we didn't like. I thought the pass blocking wasn't good at all, to be completely honest with you. I think Aidan Chiles, you mentioned the moment. He didn't have a moment. He had a game. This was a full-on game for Aidan Chiles. Maybe the best ever he's had at MSU.
Oh, yeah. I would say so, yeah, for sure.
And, he was running for his life back there several times. Even in the second half, he had a couple of scrambles that he just kept the chains moving over and over and over. This is the Aidan Chiles that I think MSU fans thought they were going to get, and he did a good job of taking care of the ball and not forcing things we saw him do last year.
Yeah, no, he did a great job of, seriously, everything we said, everything state fans have said he needed to do, he did. And, he hit Masunas. He did a great job, at least it seemed like the way the BC defense was reacting, the play fake, the play action, bootlegs were working all night. It worked for Coyne in the end zone. It worked. He was so on point. You could tell he was back there. He was confident, using his legs, but not too much. He wasn't looking on his legs to bail him out every play. He did a great job moving in the pocket. And I agree, the O-line didn't play anything crazy. But, Chiles just balled out.
And I think you can say last year, you don't want to say one person specifically lost some issue in the game against Boston College, but I think Aidan Chiles definitely played a major factor in that. I think yesterday, Aidan Chiles won MSU the game.
He did. I'd agree.
And
he did.
Nick Marsh did too.
Yeah, Nick Marsh. And there were just plays all night. The Krishan McCray one-handed catch up the right sideline. It was all so awesome. It was so awesome. I haven't come down yet.
And then Jordan Hall. I know we talked about defense, how they weren't good at you. At least you mentioned it. Jordan Hall absolutely deserves credit for yesterday. Now, there was some missed coverages. There were some not great play or more blown coverages per se, but him and Amarion Smith are two of those guys in that defense that I think absolutely deserve praise for yesterday, even if the defense as a whole wasn't good at all, per se.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're always going to have a couple guys that, I mean, Jordan Hall is just a dog.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to it. Jordan Hall's a dog. I thought Ade Willie played pretty well. Darius Snow had that big TFL. There were a couple plays, and like you said, Hall and Smith and players playing well, but it's just as a whole, it's got to be better. And you're still missing like Nakai Martinez, and that could have definitely helped shore things up. So we'll see as we move forward. But I mean I just think as a whole, the performance wasn't good enough to try to beat USC, Nebraska, Michigan, etc.
No, and having Nakai Martinez, also Malik Spencer went out for a little bit. We were out of backup safeties at one point against a Boston College team that won. I don't know how much. I think you do have to give credit to him, but I thought Dylan Lonergan looked really good. Now, I do think it was maybe a combination of MSU, again, not being able to get pressure, which I feel like is going to be a constant issue this year. But him and Lewis Bond, like those two, I don't know if I can say the word elite, but pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, pretty good. They looked good last night. I mean, the way they were moving the ball was really scary. I mean, 390 yards. Again, it was kind of enabled by our defense, but if you're throwing for 390 yards, you're not missing a lot of throws. Like that's just the truth. When the plays that were so frustrating to be at least in the state were just the little tight end releases all night. But like we're saying, Lonergan didn't miss one of them. I mean, the tight end, there was one on the Michigan State sideline where they actually dropped it, but it wasn't like a bad pass. I mean, everything was on the money all night.
Yeah, and Jordan Hall was actually in coverage for that one, I believe, too.
Was he?
Yeah, I believe it was Jordan Hall that was actually in coverage from that. But yeah, the tight end releases were a little frustrating. I thought overall the run defense was pretty good for MSU.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wasn't like great, but I thought overall it was pretty good. I don't know how much that goes with our run defense and also Boston College because they struggled in the first game. They struggled
against Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, that they might have to depend on Lonergan to throw for 390 yards every single game if they want to win quite a few games.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we talked a little bit about the game overall. We talked Nick Marsh. I really want to kind of go into Nick Marsh a little bit, though, because after the game, it was basically said Nick Marsh told, like Jonathan Smith told the team, he's like, give me the ball. What are your thoughts on that quote? Obviously, you love that quote if you're a Michigan State fan. Was there a little bit of a concern regarding that "get me the ball" quote? Because shouldn't that be like, let's get him the ball like 10, 15 times a game? Like, that should be no. Like, just get him the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like what you just said. He shouldn't have to come back to the huddle and say that. Man, I love that he did, but I think you make a great point. I mean, that should be obvious. It's like, I don't know. There's a reason you see guys in the star receivers in the NFL so consistently get 10 or more targets. I mean, Nick Marsh should be getting 10 targets every game. Yeah. Without debate. I mean, we always knew he could be great in the big play, make a big play down the field, like on his second touchdown. But how about his first? I mean, his first touchdown, if he can do that underneath, if he can catch the ball, break a tackle, make a guy miss, and then run through, and he needs to be getting the ball way more than 5 receptions. Because 5 receptions, he managed to get 68 yards and 2 touchdowns and completely beat the Boston College defense multiple times. So, yeah, I love what you just said right there.
Yeah, that was a grown man touchdown I've ever seen. 3rd and 11 in the red zone. He just carries 2 defenders to a touchdown to start the game. Like, MSU needed that.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Especially after how the game started. But, dude, that was one of those moments. I think every MSU fan, and this was a huge conversation in the offseason, like the frustration for like the national media love, the Big Ten media love that he didn't get. If anyone watched that game, there better be apologies for Nick Marsh because this man is.
Yeah, he's not on the Bilinikoff list, right?
Yeah, no, at least he wasn't for the preseason one, which is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Interesting.
crazy, though. Like that deep ball to Nick Marsh from Aidan Chiles might have been the best.
Oh, it was so pretty.
Seen from Aidan Chiles.
You knew he was open. Like, that was a great, I don't know, just everything about the pass game. Marsh, the way he just looks running after, like, you see that ball go up in the air, and most years as a Michigan State fan, it's like, it's incomplete, or, yeah, it's like, you see Marsh getting under it, you're like, oh, it's caught, this is a touchdown. Like, he just gives you a sense of, like, confidence, I guess, when the ball's in the air, and that's, if it gives me confidence, I can only imagine how Aidan feels watching him run under a ball, so.
It's almost like just throw it up to him.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to lead it. Just like the whole, like, Jane Reed, like, he's down there somewhere. Just
exactly.
Do that to Nick Marsh.
Exactly. And the thing is, the DBs on Marsh are always going to be so concerned with his jump ball ability that I feel like he's going to be able, because, like, the way he kind of separated himself at the end of that route last night, like, when he was at the goal line, I feel like they were kind of in lockstep, and then all of a sudden he's like 2 yards past the guy making a wide open catch. So I'm excited to keep watching this offense.
Yeah, no, and hopefully they obviously continue that momentum going into the next game. We'll definitely preview the next game, but I want to get into, before we kind of end the podcast, two quick things, because obviously this game was won in double overtime. The ending of the first regulation before overtime happened. You talked about how there's frustration there. Going into overtime and double overtime, how comfortable were you going into that? Did you think MSU was going to win the game?
Oh, I thought we had no chance. I thought the game was over. I completely thought, I'm sitting up there in my seats in section 109. I thought it was so over. I mean, when they tied it up with the field goal, I was like, all right, we're going to go get the field goal. And then, like I said, that weird play calling, or not weird, just not what I would have done. And I'm not an OC, and I never will claim to be, but the back up at the end of the half, and then we score. I thought Bill O'Brien and Boston College 100% should have gone for two in the first overtime, the way their offense was moving. So, I don't know. I mean, and then, the defense in overtime was just scary.
Great play by Marion Smith in that second overtime, though.
In the 2-point conversion?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I honestly haven't gone back and looked. Do you know if that was a designed rollout, or do we kind of flush him out there? Because Lonergan was rolling hard deep and to his right.
I think it was because we forced it. Right?
Okay, that's kind of what I thought.
It was like the one time where we actually got pressure. Like, all night, I was just keep asking, like, someone win your one-on-one. Please just win your one-on-one. And they didn't do that all night. But
No.
That one.
Yeah, so, yeah, that was a good, that's, they knew they had to stand up. So once that happened, I was like, okay, we've got a chance now, because it's like, I had faith we were going to score a touchdown. Yeah. And I'm really happy we got the win out of the way before having to go to the 2-point conversion, new OT, whatever, so.
And what a play design by Brian Lindgren and that 2-point conversion.
Oh.
And also, Amari Kelly redeems himself for his game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, like I said earlier, I think I said this earlier, that like, play-action boot action was working all night, and Chiles was doing a great job selling it in the gut, rolling out, not letting the rollout, like, speed up his clock. Like, you could tell he was poised with the ball, waiting for Kelly, flip it, perfect pass, good catch, ball game. That was electric. That was electric.
So, exciting game. Obviously exciting win. But before we wrap up here with kind of just how big this win was for MSU in the program, because Lions start in like 5 minutes, so when I
Yeah.
wrap up here shortly. But you do have to give credit to Martin Connington. I thought he was
Oh
a great
my, yeah, yeah, we do. And Ryan Eckley, both the
Ryan
punter and the kicker. Ryan Eckley, I mean, oh my goodness, he's getting more love than Connington. But what Connington did, that is nails. That is absolutely nails.
absolutely.
I was hyped after that. I was hyped after everything all night. Clearly, that's why I sound like a horse. But no, that was the whole thing was so good. Everything except a little scare on the defense in the pass game. But yeah, like you said, even the run D was pretty good.
Yeah, no, just a great game. Ryan Eckley, I saw a highlight for him for punter. It was like, I think 57 seconds. I need to see if I can find that and send that to you if you haven't seen that.
Yeah.
How big of a win is this for MSU and its
Oh my
program in
God. It's
general?
well, it. Gosh, it's huge. You couldn't have lost that game. It would have been brutal to lose. The
Yeah,
way they would have lost it would have been brutal. And I think Chiles said that that's a game. Was it Chiles? Someone said that that's a game they would find a way to lose in the past. I don't know if it was Aidan or someone on the defense,
yeah,
but
it was someone on the
but
defense.
it's so true. I mean, that's a game that you've gotten since 21 or even since like 17. You've got used to losing those games at MSU, and if you can get back to winning those games, I mean, you beat Youngstown next week. I'm sorry, Youngstown State, but you're gonna lose.
Yeah,
And you never all of a sudden like all you were asking for as a Michigan State fan to start the year was to go 3-0, and then just make something happen. You got to beat one. Like if you beat either USC or Nebraska, you're 4-1 coming home for UCLA, who they don't look good. All of a sudden, you could go from having no hype and a win total at 5.5 to pretty quickly being 5-1 if you could make some magic happen. And with this offense, you never know. You just got to shore up the defense a little bit. I'm so excited.
yeah, no, absolutely. And then you could be talking 5, 6 wins before that team down the road comes
Yeah,
to East Lansing.
get them in here. They didn't look good. They looked. I mean, I've already seen some of their fans complaining about Sharon. And he's never going to win big games or whatever. So we'll see. I mean, they beat Ohio State, but we'll see. We'll see, man. It's an exciting time,
Yeah,
and that's why it was such a big win in my opinion because you got to keep the fan base engaged for more than 1 week every year. You know, like
no,
you can't.
absolutely.
So yeah, huge win. It can't be overstated how big it was.
Yeah, no, completely agree with you on that. We'll preview Youngstown State coming up. Hopefully, your voice will be a little bit
Hopefully.
at that point. Should be a little bit less
Yep.
of concern regarding there. Hopefully, your voice will be back by the time we do a recap there. But no, what a game, what a win. If you're listening to this right before and hopefully after a Lions win tonight, so really appreciate you jumping on. Hope your voice starts to get a little bit better there.
Yep, it will. Thanks for having me. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that is a wrap to episode number 484. Thank you again to Liam, and thank you for everyone tuning in. And tune in to the next episode.